Now imagine this, it is 3:47 in the morning. You are asleep, deep asleep. The kind of sleep where the world has simply ceased to exist. And outside your window, a robin has already opened its eyes. Not because it heard something, not because something disturbed it, because something inside it, ancient, mechanical, older than consciousness itself, simply said, now. Here's the detail that surprises people. That robin didn't decide to wake up. It doesn't have a choice. Every bird carries a biological clock, not metaphorical, literal. A cluster of neurons called the suprachiasmatic nucleus. This clock runs on a cycle older than any alarm system humans have ever built. It tracks light the bird cannot yet see. As melatonin drops in the blood, the same hormone that makes you groggy at night, the bird's body begins shifting. Heart rate rises. Body temperature climbs. Muscles tense. The bird is still sitting in complete darkness, but internally, it is already awake. Now think about what this means for the smallest among them. A hummingbird weighs less than a nickel. At night, it cannot afford to keep its furnace running. So it does something extreme. It enters a state called torpor. Its body temperature, normally 105 degrees, can drop below 40. Its heart, which beats over 500 times a minute in flight, slows to fewer than 50 beats. Research published by the Cornell Lab and the Journal of Experimental Biology confirms these birds can reach body temperatures as low as 3 degrees Celsius, just above freezing. It is, by almost every medical definition, not alive in the way you understand alive. And in the hours before dawn, it must reverse all of it. Rewarming takes approximately 20 minutes. The bird vibrates its flight muscles to generate heat. If it takes too long, it dies. And you were still asleep when it began the most dangerous hour of its life. Not every bird faces torpor, but every bird faces the night. And night is a killer. Small birds like chickadees and wrens solve this together. They crowd into tree cavities, bodies pressed into a space built for half their number. And here's what you wouldn't expect. They rotate. The birds on the outside, the ones losing heat fastest, gradually shift inward. The warm ones on the inside move out. A living rotation, a shared sacrifice that no single bird decided to make. They survived the dark not because they were strong enough alone, because they were warm enough together. At approximately 80 minutes before sunrise, the first bird sings. Almost always it is a robin. Not because robins are the bravest, not because they are the loudest, because of their eyes. In 2002, a study published in the Proceedings of the Royal Society found something remarkable. The earlier a bird sings, the larger its eyes. Robins have disproportionately large eyes for their body size, which means they can see in light levels where other birds are functionally blind. The robin sings first not because it is eager, because it is the only one who can see well enough to know its time. Robins at 80 minutes before sunrise, blackbirds at 50, song thrushes at 45, wrens at 30, warblers at 20, blue tits and great tits at 10. Every species has a slot. Every slot is determined by eye size, body size, and territory. The large-eyed birds go first. The small-eyed birds wait for light. And by the time the sun clears the horizon, you are hearing the combined output of every male bird within earshot simultaneously. Hey everyone, just wanted to say thank you for watching this video and making it this far. If you haven't already, please hit that like and subscribe button. It helps me out a lot. Thank you. Now back to the video. Simultaneously announcing the same thing. I survived the night. This tree is mine, and I am not leaving. Here's what makes this singing different from every lullaby you've been told about. It is not peaceful. It is not gentle. It is warfare conducted by sound. In 2025, a study from the Cornell Lab of Ornithology analyzed 69 bird species in India's Western Ghats and found that the birds singing most intensely at dawn were the most territorial ones. They weren't performing. After 10 or 12 hours of darkness, of silence, of not knowing whether a rival has crept closer in the night, the first thing a territorial bird does is reestablish the boundary. I am still here. This is still mine. And you are still not welcome. For decades, the most popular explanation for the dawn chorus was something called the acoustic transmission hypothesis. The idea was simple. In the cool, still, humid air of early morning, Sound carries farther. Birds sing at dawn because it's the best time to be heard. It made intuitive sense. It was repeated in textbooks. And in 2025, researchers at Cornell and Project Dhvani in India tested it and found almost no evidence to support it. They recorded 43 locations across multiple months. They found no significant relationship between the frequency of a bird's song and its preference for singing at dawn versus dusk. The theory that defined the dawn chorus for half a century was, in the words of one Duke University biologist, part of a class of hypotheses that we can now rule out. What the Cornell study did find was social. Territorial species sing at dawn because they need to reclaim space after a night of silence. And omnivorous species, birds that eat both insects and fruit, were also more vocal at dawn, likely because these birds form mixed species foraging flocks. They need to communicate where the food is, whether a predator is near. The dawn chorus is not a performance. It is a meeting. And there's another layer. A 2025 preprint from BioRx have found that male zebra finches become hormonally aroused in the dark long before they start singing. The urge to sing builds through the night like pressure behind a dam. The chorus is not art, it is chemistry, released. Now think about what this means. A small songbird, a chickadee, a wren, weighs almost nothing. It has virtually no fat reserves. Through a single winter night, it can burn through 75 to 80% of its fat reserves just staying warm. Research from the BTO and multiple field studies confirms that small birds lose 5 to 10% of their total body weight overnight. By dawn, it is running a calorie deficit. It is hungry in a way most humans have never experienced. The singing you hear at dawn is not the sound of well-fed birds celebrating a new day. It is the sound of starving ones staking a claim on the ground where they plan to eat. Here's what makes this different from every performance you've been taught about. A 2005 study from Cold Spring Harbor Laboratory found that when zebra finches first wake up, they are dramatically worse singers than they were the day before. Their early morning songs are sloppy, variable, imprecise. It's as if they have to relearn their own song overnight. And in a way they do. A 2024 study in Nature Communications Biology confirmed that daily singing actually maintains the neural pathways that produce song. Skip a day, and the song degrades. The dawn chorus is not a concert. It is a rehearsal. The worst version of the song played at the most critical time of day because the cost of not practicing is losing the song entirely. While some birds sing, others are doing something quieter, but no less critical. Preening. Every bird has a gland at the base of its tail called the uropygial gland. It produces an oil that most birds never think about, but absolutely depend on. Each morning, the bird reaches back, collects a small amount of this oil on its beak, and methodically applies it to every feather it can reach, one by one. This oil waterproofs the feathers, it keeps them flexible, it inhibits bacteria. Without it, rain soaks through, flight becomes impossible, and insulation collapses. Preening is not vanity. It is the difference between flying and drowning. And then there are the behaviors that look like madness. Sunning. A bird will find the first patch of morning light, spread its wings flat, and sit motionless for minutes. It looks like worship. It's pest control. The heat drives parasites, mites, lice, ticks, out from between the feathers where they hide. Some birds take this further, much further. Anting. Over 200 species have been observed picking up ants and deliberately rubbing them on their feathers. The ants release formic acid. This acid kills parasites and inhibits bacteria. Before you've opened your curtains, a crow outside may have already given itself a chemical bath using live ants. There's one more reason the chorus happens at dawn, and it is not about the males at all. Research has shown that in many species, hearing male song at dawn actually stimulates the female's reproductive system. It induces fertility. Studies on canaries found that females exposed to preferred male songs produced eggs with greater amounts of testosterone. Stronger offspring triggered by sound. The early morning chorus doesn't just advertise territory to rivals, it activates the biology of potential mates. The male who sings earliest, who sings through the worst conditions, who maintains the most complex song on the emptiest stomach. He is the one whose signal carries the most weight, because singing at dawn costs more than singing at noon. It costs energy the bird doesn't have. It costs exposure to predators. And that is precisely the point. The harder the performance, the more it proves. Not every pre-dawn ritual is solitary. Chimney swifts spend their nights in colonies of thousands, clinging to the inner walls of chimneys, or historically hollow trees. Before dawn, they begin to stir. A 1981 study in the Wilson Bulletin documented that swifts could be heard calling inside the chimney up to half an hour before daylight. And then, in a coordinated event that no single bird leads, they pour out of the chimney in a spiraling vortex. Thousands of bodies. One direction. No collision. They have spent the night pressed against brick, sharing body heat, surviving as a unit. And their departure is as synchronized as their arrival. Before you've reached for your phone, a tornado of birds has already risen from a chimney near you and dispersed across the sky to eat insects you will never see. Every single morning, in the hours before your alarm, a system older than any human city switches on. Birds that nearly froze to death reheat themselves. Territorial boundaries are redrawn in sound. Calorie-deficient singers push through their worst performance of the day because stopping is not an option. And if you're finding this story as compelling as I am, drop a comment and hit that subscribe button to help Hale know that we should create more videos like this. Here's what I want you to carry from this. Everything you've been told about the dawn chorus is probably wrong. It's not a lullaby. It's not a celebration of the morning. It is not even primarily about sound carrying farther in cool air. That theory, held for half a century, was dismantled by the Cornell study in 2025. The dawn chorus is a territorial roll call conducted by starving males on empty stomachs. It is a rehearsal of the worst version of their song because the alternative is losing it entirely. It is a chemical bath administered with live insects. It is a 20-minute gamble between life and death for a bird weighing less than a nickel. And it happens every single morning, feet from where you sleep. This has been happening for millions of years. You've been sleeping right beside it. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.